First of all, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this teen dating violence project. It's really near and dear to my heart, so I appreciate your time. I know you are very busy people. So before we get started, can you just tell us a little bit about like who you are and what you do and what you're about?
Okay, well, first, thanks for including us. Jill and I are more than happy to talk to kids about our relationship and where we've come from. I'm Greg Brown. I'm currently the superintendent of Perryton ISD, and this is my wife, Jill. She's one of our first grade teachers, and we have been married for 33 years. It'll be 34 years in June. We met in college and got married while we were still in college, and have began our life together, and have been traveling just the world together, and for almost 34 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
We're grandparents.
Anything?
We have grown kiddos, and they have kiddos, and so our family is really important to us as well.
Spend a lot of time with family.
Good. Well, we're just going to dive in deep right here. I do have some questions from students and teachers. I didn't edit these. I wanted the students to know that their voice would be heard, because that was what the basis of this project is for their questions to be answered.
Well, it's probably important also to know that our answers won't really be edited, and they're going to be off the cuff.
That we haven't like prefaced
No.
this. So. Okay, so one of their first questions is, what do you have any advice when you have an argument and you need to reconcile after an argument? What do you do?
I think that, probably the first thing to say is that you're going to have arguments, and you're going to have disagreements, and that's okay, and that's not necessarily unhealthy. It can get to a place that it's really unhealthy. But I would say it's important that as when you're in disagreement, that you have mutual respect for each other and value for each other. That at the same time that you're trying to get across your point or your feelings and being honest with who you are, you need to understand that this person next to you that you're talking to, that you love and care for, has value and has important positions too. In our case, I always try to remember that what Jill is trying to express to me is important to her, and just like whatever I'm trying to express is important to me. And so at that point, I think you can start to work through it in a healthy way, being honest with each other and mutually valuing each other. And hopefully, you're going to come to a place where you can both live and move on and adjust. How that works out is kind of up to each individual discussion.
Yeah, when you get in a difficult place, an argument or a fight or hurt feelings, in our experience, it's really easy to automatically take it personal, kind of defend ourselves and prove that we're right. Even just blaming usually becomes a big part of it. And I think to be able to move to the other side of it takes some, calm yourself, name your part, be honest and vulnerable about what matters to you and why it matters, but being able to do it in a way that's not just attacking and blaming. And sometimes that can happen quickly, and sometimes it takes some time to work through. I think that's really fine to take the time you need to process and apologize. That hasn't always been my strength, but
that leads me into my next question, which was, what are ways to stay healthy and have a forgiving and happy relationship?
Be quick to apologize. If you want to have a healthy relationship, you're going to have to not take yourself quite so seriously. You're going to have to learn to be quick to own it and say, oh, that did not come across how I wanted, or that was hurtful. That is not how I want to treat you. I'm so sorry. I used to do a lot more stonewalling and, lock myself in the bathroom.
Prove your point.
That was our first real fight.
But as we've gotten hopefully a little more mature.
Yeah.
To just be able to
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
just move toward each other.
Sure.
And even in the midst of that conflict, I think it's just hugely important to remember that you care for this person.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone you love, and so I think as you're realizing you're in conflict, realizing you're in one of those places where you're going to have to work something out, remembering you care for this person, they're a part of you, they're an important part of your relationships, and you don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
And so being understanding that can help you approach things in a more caring way, or at least more empathetic way.
Yeah.
I also think it's a lot of times good to remember that many times when we're in the middle of conflict, we think that we're in conflict with that person. What we're really fighting about is some issue that's not really that's out here somewhere. It's not really I'm fighting against Jill. We're trying to solve this issue that we're both looking at. And so shifting your focus to going, okay, I'm not trying to attack her as a person, even though we're in conflict. She is wanting to solve this problem out here too. And that can help us kind of pull together to work together to solve that problem rather than it's about us individually.
That's good.
Sounds like you're saying you're intentional. You're intentional with how you solve these problems. Like, okay, let's sit down and let's not just fight to fight.
Right.
That's not fun.
Right, you know.
Right.
But
Also,
we see a lot of that.
Not to just sweep it under the rug and be grumpy and slam the doors
Let
for a
resentment
day
build
and
up
then
or-
move on to the next thing. We have a commitment to circle back around, even if it takes us a little time to process apart. Just some practicals too.
Sure.
We don't try to handle that over text. You know, I mean, we sit and like look in each other's eyes and face-to-face kind of communication matters.
And sometimes these are really emotional things. So sometimes it's okay to just say, listen, I'm ramped up to here.
Yeah.
Can we just take a break?
I'm gonna circle back.
I'll come back in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. After, let me calm down for a minute. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to just manage yourself. But it also in those moments, it's good to tell your partner, whoever you're talking to, hey, I'm committed to coming back. I'm not just walking away from this.
Yeah.
Let me go calm down. I'm going to come back and we'll keep talking.
Yeah.
Can I
Little
add
practicals.
to Mrs. Cunningham? We're talking about this in the context of our long-term
yes.
Sure.
And it's
committed
true.
Sure.
relationship where we both have trust.
Yeah.
I trust Greg's character.
Right.
We've worked through enough issues that I know we are
How did you get to that place where you
building
trusted?
this. Over time,
And working through
Difficulty?
conflicts.
Yeah.
I mean,
working
that's,
through conflict, watching his heart toward me
Yes.
over a long time.
Yeah.
yes.
It was hard for me to let my guard down,
Sure.
even when we were dating before we had decided, that this is going to be what we're committing to. And I think it's really important to take the time you need to watch, observe someone's character, watch how they treat not just you, but all the
Yes.
people in
Did you
their
see any red
lives.
flags with him?
We're not going
That
to tell our
sounds like
secrets, remember?
that sounds like a loaded question. I saw
I
lots
give
of
you-
red
I
flags
give you the
because I was
freedom-
so worried all
I
the
give
time.
you the freedom to answer that. Yes, answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of I was much more anxious about, letting my guard down.
Sure.
And I think that's okay.
I do
when
too.
It
you're
is.
choosing
It is.
a person to spend your life with,
Yeah.
I'm not just going to trust anybody.
Yeah.
That even if they are pursuing me
Sure.
or think they're attracted
Sure.
to me or
Trust is earned.
it
Yes.
is earned over time and over many different types of situations,
Yes.
good and bad,
Yeah.
difficult and
Yeah.
smooth.
Yeah.
So I think that's just really
Yeah.
important to say because I don't want teenagers that I care about just to trust anybody
Yeah.
and just forgiveness is not just, oh, he did it again. She treats me like this all the time, but I have to come back and just forgive. That might be some red flags
some
to
problems,
pay attention to.
Agreed.
So
yeah.
That could cause some real problems in the future relationship.
it's not going to just get better.
Right.
And if I can just interrupt, since we're talking about, budding relationships and new relationships, and especially as teenagers, you want to become an adult. You want to have a real adult relationship. You want to experience these things, these relationships that you see from people in your life on TV, and all of these stories.
The romantic,
yes.
Yeah.
And so,
That's a longing in our heart.
It is,
but
and there's
we can't
nothing
rush
wrong with that. But I think sometimes we get so involved with that or longing for that that we might overlook something and convince ourselves that a genuine red flag, well, it'll be okay because of all this, our emotions keep us from seeing what really is true.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage our young people to take a breath.
Yeah.
Give it some time. Give it, and like Jill said, on building trust, and that takes time. And watching, whoever you're interested, watching them over the course of time and in many different situations. And I think it's important to see how they're treating others, not just you.
Yeah.
Because that's really how they're going to be.
Yeah.
Once the shine of the newness of a relationship falls or fades. So taking that time is it's important, and it can help you. It can help you from walking into what could be a really bad situation. Now let me speak out of the other side of my mouth. You're never going to find somebody perfect.
True.
Yeah.
So, if you are taking time, and but gosh, the way he chews that gum, I don't know that I can. Okay, that's, you don't have to look for absolute perfection.
Yeah.
But taking some time to watch for the major red flags and see if any of them come up. I think that's hugely important.
I heard one time that you need to have expectations, right? High expectations. But those expectations also have to be realistic.
Yes.
So if you have expectations for a significant other and you want them to be perfect or whatever, then but are they realistic?
Yeah.
Sure.
On the other side of that, do you have expectations to your relationship? Because I think a lot of times, we get wrapped up in the romanticizing of, I want to be in this serious relationship, and I want to do all these things, and I want to be in love, and all of these things, which is good.
Yeah.
But
in the right season.
Yeah.
In the right season.
Yeah.
Because that's going to get, our emotions are going to get stirred up. But I think this season is more about developing your own character.
Yes.
Are you a trustworthy person?
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going in life? Do you have passions and interests to pursue outside of one person?
Sure.
They're not going to meet your needs.
Yeah. Not finding
life.
that validation in
Not
somebody.
searching for validation in someone.
Yes.
Developing yourself as a whole, happy person
And
that loves life and knows how to treat
life.
a wide variety of people.
Yeah.
Friendship
Yeah.
at this season.
Yeah.
And you have time to do that right now.
So important.
That's really needs to be your focus, especially as a young person. If you want to marry somebody that's high quality and that the things that you want to see in that person, work on those things in yourself.
Yeah.
Be that person.
I like that.
And you have time to do that while you're not focused on somebody else.
Even
work on being the right person for whatever person out there that comes along for you.
Coming back to your original question about forgiveness, I think that our families, our siblings, our parents are our first forgiveness practice.
Yeah.
Friendships are awesome forgiveness practice.
Yeah.
You're gonna need that skill.
Yeah. And I think
For the rest
it's
of your life.
important for our students to know that forgiveness doesn't mean you keep going back and going back and you're like, oh, I forgive the abuse. So you can keep yelling at me. You can keep abusing me verbally, physically, emotionally.
Absolutely
That's not
not.
what forgiveness is.
Absolutely
Forgiveness
not.
is for you.
Yes.
And that means that you move on, but you don't have to go back to those things.
That is absolutely true.
So, I mean, I think that's important to know.
I agree.
Too. Okay, so another question that some of the kids had: do you guys ever have to check either each other's phones or social media? Like, do you check each other's stuff? Like, do you go through his phone? Does he go through your phone?
Not so much, but we could.
We have the freedom.
We have the freedom.
I mean, we show each other.
Mm-hmm.
We invite. Mm-hmm. We just have a trust, like we were saying, that
trust.
we've built over so long. Our lives and our thoughts and our choices are an open book to one another.
So do you think it's healthy or unhealthy for students or, teenagers to give their password to their significant other? To have access to their social media, to their, all of those things?
I don't.
No, and especially not in a budding or young relationship.
No.
I think that there's several dangers I think that can lead to. You're constantly, at some point you really are going to have to trust each other as you're working through things, but I think that that can lead to control.
Yeah.
Long term.
And that's a very unhealthy part. Obsessiveness.
I don't think anyone
It
at this
crosses a line
age
to me.
It does.
There has
that
to be
boundary
boundaries.
Yes.
of,
Yes.
this is who I am. This
Right.
is my space.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is my life. This is
Yeah.
myself. I don't want to get all enmeshed
And muddies it.
and muddying those boundaries and feeling that needy or that controlling.
Yes.
That's too obsessive.
And as a partner, if I was going to say, or as I say as a partner, again, I'm thinking about marriage,
Sure.
but as somebody who, if we're beginning to date, I need to be able to respect her boundaries and respect her privacy. She needs to be able to respect mine until the day when we decide to become married, and then our lives get very much more intimate, as they should.
Then it can get muddied.
Then
Then we're one.
Yeah,
You're not one. You're not
we're moving
one.
forward together for life,
When
and
you
so
have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you
so
are not
there's
one.
correct, and so and that's a
exploring.
way that I, as a man, show Jill honor.
Yeah.
If I'm just in a budding relationship, by respecting her boundaries, by respecting her privacy, by respecting her opinions and decisions, and not trying to push into those. That's to me, that's me showing honor and showing care for what could be my future spouse.
Okay, I love that. Do you feel like there's ever been jealousy in your marriage or relationship, like when you were dating, and is that a healthy thing to feel or go through?
I'm jealous over his attention, his time, his priority. And I think in a long-term committed relationship,
I think that's
a
okay.
healthy type of jealousy.
Yeah.
In a younger
Yeah.
dating type scenario, if there's a lot of jealousy, to me that might be
Maybe a
a
red flag.
caution flag.
Like, for example, what if, a teenager was saying, well, you have to block all the boys on social media, or you
Absolutely
have to
not.
block all the girls in your life, or you can't talk
Control.
to this person.
Controlling.
You can't have girlfriends, or you can't,
No.
girlfriends in the sense of I'm a male and I have female friends. I think, what's your thoughts on that? Because I think we see a lot of that, jealousy in that area where,
The exclusion
yeah.
of other
Yes.
relationships
Yes.
to me is a red flag.
Yes, very much.
And also, I think we keep coming back to having a wide circle
Yeah.
of friends that are important to you.
Yeah.
I think that's really important at this stage of life. And if you're cutting that off
Yeah.
before you're even a fully
Yeah.
grown adult,
Yeah.
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has the right to ask that of you, even once we're in a marriage.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of one-on-one need for contact, or certainly not time spent alone with other men.
Right.
That's
Don't you
a
think
different
there's
story.
well, just like we talked about with when you're dating somebody, it's different than when you're married.
Absolutely.
Once you're dating, it's
Right.
you can do things a little bit differently. You can maybe go get a Coke if you're teenagers and you have a male best friend. You want to go get a Coke with them, great.
Sure.
But when you're married, there's a different level
There's a
of
different
Yes.
level.
respect for your significant other.
But I still don't exclude
sure,
a
exactly.
wide
Right.
variety
Exactly.
of people that I
Right.
relate to.
Right.
And so I think that's
Yeah.
You know, and in a dating
Dangerous.
relationship, you know, watching how this person you're interested in interacts with members of the opposite sex,
Yeah.
that's an opportunity for
Yeah.
you to see that person's character.
Yeah.
You know, and just because they're talking with somebody of the opposite sex doesn't mean that they're interested or involved. I mean, you do need to have those friendships. Now, if you know, if you're in kind of a dating relationship and I don't know,
if it gets out of balance.
if it gets out
in
of
some
balance,
way, then
you might
that's-
just have a discussion, and that person may not be for you. You know, there's because that they may be showing you that that's the way they're going to be in a long-term relationship, and that's a red flag. But I think having a wide variety of friendships, especially when you're young and in a dating position, I mean that's okay. And
jealousy.
jealousy,
might. I mean, you might need to ask yourself,
Yeah.
where's this coming from? And I think a lot of times it may go back to security.
yes,
Am I secure
or control,
in who I am?
That
Is
confidence.
that person
yes,
secure, comfortable, confident in who they are? Or are we just drawn to each other because we are
Yeah.
like needing something to
Right.
make us
Right.
feel
Yeah.
better about ourselves or
What
happy?
what hole are we trying to
What
Right.
hole are we
fill
trying
Right.
to fill?
with getting
That's-
into a
and
relationship?
that is something if we
not
can we just
something
walk
fair
through that for a
to
second
ask.
because you know we all, especially when we're young, will have parts of us that we're insecure about. But
Sure.
if we are looking towards somebody else to come in and fulfill that
Yeah.
and magically make us a whole person,
Yeah, there's
then we need to
no-
spend some time talking to a counselor or a trusted adult
Otherwise,
because
input.
that's an unhealthy place to enter a relationship in.
Absolutely.
You're not going to find somebody that completes you. I mean,
Right.
in a sense, I know that's a romantic thing.
We complement.
We complement each
we
other.
don't complete,
We don't complete
each
But
other.
you know, if you're looking for somebody that's going to just fulfill that need or make you a whole person, that's really an unhealthy way to look at a relationship, and it's a wrong place to put that other person in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a fair thing to ask
Yeah,
of
exactly.
that person, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm speaking from experience
Yeah.
because I wish someone had
Yeah.
guided me in those ways when I was younger. And I think without counsel and guidance and growth, it's very
Yeah.
natural and normal
It is.
to just switch our focus to
Sure.
one person that we're going to suck
it
the life
feels
out
good.
of. And
Yes.
yeah,
When
it
someone
affirms
wants, we all
us.
want to
We
be
all want to be
wanted.
wanted.
Yes.
So when someone wants you, or they text you, or they're calling you, or they're
Yeah,
like,
they're
"Hey, what
giving
do
you that
They
attention.
do. It feels good.
It does. It's affirming.
It is, but when we look for that as the joy and hope and all of these things, they will fail us every
Right.
time.
And if your happiness and how you feel
Yeah.
about yourself absolutely
tied,
depends
yeah.
on whether you get texted or whether, you know, that person found you in the hall or, you know, if it's
Yeah.
totally dependent on some interaction with that person, that's something you probably need to back up and deal with yourself and grow yourself before you enter a relationship because
Yeah.
that can cause some unhealth in your future relationship.
Sure.
That's where our faith has been a really important
Yeah.
part of our life also, and finding meaning
Yeah.
Mhm.
Purpose.
outside and
Yeah.
purpose outside of
Yeah.
just this other
And
person,
and each other.
Yeah.
finding a
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
that really helps us develop
Yeah.
that. and
You know, I
grow
talk
that
to a lot of
way.
our kids that come in my office about, you know, just that validation. You know, our kids, they're young and they need those affirmations and they
Yes.
need to know that they're worthy and that they, you know, are
Absolutely.
loved no matter what. And so I think they seek out relationships to be validated. And so if they can just know that their validation doesn't come from another person, they will go really far.
You deserve to know.
Yeah.
You deserve to know that you're beautiful,
Yes.
that you're valued
Yes.
and loved
Yeah.
and worthy.
Even through all mistakes and everything.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, so the last question is, do you have any advice for high school students that are in a unhealthy situation? Whether that's a friendship, because friendships can be unhealthy too.
Yeah.
What would you say to a young girl or boy that was struggling to get out or find?
Wow.
I think first I would try to affirm them, because we can all find ourselves there.
Yeah.
We can all, without intending, I don't think anybody gets up in the
Sets
morning and says, I'm going to find an unhealthy relationship and really develop it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. So we can all find, for one reason or another, we can all find ourselves there.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself there, it's okay. There's no shame in that, is what I would say. But I would very much encourage that young person to find somebody that has a healthy view of things, that they can trust, to help them walk out of it, because there's so many ways to walk out of that. And so I don't think there's one formula. I think you really need to find one or two people that are healthy, that can see things in a healthy way, that you trust, that can help guide you out of that relationship. And maybe the last thing I would say was, work your way out.
Yeah.
Don't stay in an
Not worth it.
unhealthy
You're worth it.
relationship.
Not
You are worth it.
You're worth more than
You
that.
are valued,
And-
and if something is reducing your value, a relationship is reducing your value, you need to get out of that.
And now's the time.
Yeah.
I agree. So I hear you saying one of the most important things would be to find someone to talk to that can support you. And I agree, that could be a teacher or a
It could be
pastor
a
or some kind of leader in your life,
Yes.
or some of the counselors.
A relative, a counselor.
Here, absolutely. That
Anybody.
makes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
even just be honest. Sometimes we just
Yeah.
hold things and stuff
Yeah.
things inside, and it's scary to
Yeah.
admit.
Yeah.
But even if you just start with a peer,
Yeah.
just say something out loud that you
Yeah.
weren't brave
Yes.
enough to say before, and admit.
Yeah.
Baby steps. Babies take
And then-
take little steps,
Yeah.
even little changes in how you
Yeah.
relate to say what you need to say
Yeah.
honestly.
Mhm.
Say no about something,
Yeah.
start setting boundaries, which just can be, I'm not interested in doing that tonight.
Mhm.
I don't want to make
No.
those plans anymore. I have other priorities right now.
Yeah.
Little steps
Yeah.
can make a huge difference. I think
Doesn't have to be
sometimes
so
we dread it
serious.
because
Right.
we picture it like this
Yeah.
dramatic,
Yeah.
serious explosion of some
Yeah.
sort. We can just take a deep breath,
Yeah.
take a small step in a new direction.
And one more thing I might add to that. I promise you'll make it through it.
Yeah.
Taking
It's-
that little step can seem so scary, and taking those steps out, because you found yourself here. You didn't get there in a day. And probably this has been going on a while, and so you wonder, if I take the step, am I going to survive it? Am I going to be the same person when I walk out? Is this going to hurt me?
Yeah.
And I can't guarantee you
It
that there
may
won't be
hurt.
some negative feelings as you walk through. There may be some negative consequences, or what we call negative consequences, but ultimately you will find yourself as you walk through it, as you get somebody to help you, as you work through those issues, you will find yourself in the positive place that you need to be. And I
Yeah.
promise you'll make it.
You'll have
It'll
some-
be worth walking out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to stay in that unhealthy relationship.
You'll have some good life experience under
Yeah.
your belt.
Yeah.
And Greg and I've, even through all these years, been through so many
Yeah.
highs and lows.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there's times that hurt, and there's things that you don't think we're going to get through. And, little,
And we do.
well, not little, sometimes big,
Sometimes
hills and
big.
valleys.
Yeah.
And I really like what Greg is saying. You're gonna make
Yeah.
it through.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
come out on the other side.
Yeah.
There's hope
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
stronger me,
Yeah.
a stronger you,
Yeah.
Yes.
happier, settled, content, calm.
Yeah. I
You
tell
know.
my students all the time, it won't always be this hard.
It's not
Right.
always gonna feel this
Correct.
way.
The way that you're feeling right now,
You're
it won't
not
always be
always
this
gonna
hard.
feel this way.
Yeah.
You can
Yes.
just make it till tomorrow. It gets a little bit
Yes.
easier. Gets a
Yeah.
little bit, you may never forget some of the hard even if it was abusive or, it really didn't go the way it should, then you're never going to forget that, but it was an opportunity to learn from it,
Yeah.
what you don't want to be in and things like that.
Absolutely.
But I think we can end on that note is that there's hope.
Yeah.
And that relationships at the high school age, junior high age should be fun. Shouldn't be
Yes.
so serious. I mean,
Yes.
these are
Don't
the
take
best
yourself so
days of your
seriously.
life.
Yes.
You never get your high school years back. You never get your junior high years back. So let's just have some fun with each other. I don't think you guys are against dating. I think
No.
it can be fun, but you're not going to marry
Right.
it's very unlikely that you're going to marry somebody that you go to high school with. It does happen.
It does.
But I think we just need these students to know that they're loved and valued, and I hear you saying that. So I just really appreciate your input and your time, and
Absolutely.
and,
And we're here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we would love to visit with anybody
Yeah.
further if you
Yeah.
have more questions or cares.
you're gonna have
It's
students that
important.
knocking at your first grade door.
Bring them on.
It's important to us that,
I
that
know. I
the
see that in your hearts.
people
and
in our
appreciate that.
community know, these young folks know,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
cared for.
We-
They are.
We're for them.
They are.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Delma Lopez, and I am here with the Crisis Center. And I'm here this morning to talk to you guys about the services that we provide at the Crisis Center and tell you a little bit about what we do there. So we provide services for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, victims and survivors. If you are currently going through a situation where you are needing help because of something that you're currently going through, or if you have past victimizations, we are there and we're available. Our services are free, and everything that we do at the Crisis Center is confidential. So we encourage people to come forward and ask for help if you guys are, again, victims of sexual assault, domestic violence. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and we would like to talk to the kids that are in relationships or that are dating, and we encourage you guys, if you guys are in bad situations and bad relationships, to reach out to your school counselor, your parents, and then also keep in mind that the Crisis Center is available. We have a 24-hour hotline available that is available 24/7, of course, and then 365 days. So at any time, if you guys are wanting to reach out and you're needing help, you guys please remember that that hotline is available. If something is going on, of course, if it's an immediate dangerous situation, then you reach out to law enforcement, call 911. But if it's something that you are going through and you are wanting to just discuss with an advocate, please reach out. Again, the hotline is available 24/7. If you guys are in a bad relationship, please reach out to someone and ask for help.